name is Kevin. Today, I would like to discuss how I stay up to date with the latest information about HIV. Maybe you're like me. You once worked at a HIV service organization, but you no longer work there. But you still are interested, still curious about what's going on. Perhaps there's a new law or legislation that you want to learn about. Maybe you're seeking the best information so that you can support a loved one. You can be a better advocate in your community. Maybe you're living with HIV and you heard about a new medication that they advertised on television or on the radio, and you just want more information about this thing that you're hearing about. Perhaps you heard something on social media and someone shared something that you thought, I'm not sure if that's as accurate as this person is presenting it. Well, there are places that you can go to confirm or learn more. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. As a part of our conversation, we'll walk through a few websites that I think are helpful. There may be other websites, but the tips I tell you can help you navigate those other websites to find that accurate information or the best information for you. The other thing we'll talk about a few tactics for finding trusted sources and just other helpful tips that I think you can use. As you prepare to write grants, write proposals, or just create a mobilization plan, the data that you find on these websites, whether that's the CDC website, AIDSview, HepView, or thebody.com, there are data that can help you and help support your effort. The first website that I would like to discuss is from the CDC, or the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. They are our nation's leading public health organization. They are data-driven, they lead with science, and they put science into action. When you get a moment, I would like you to go to cdc.gov, cdc.gov. And once you get to the site, you can always go to the magnifying glass and search a topic. You can search a disease modality. And so in this case, we're going to put into the search bar HIV. And once you put in HIV into the search bar, you have the opportunity to go to a number of web pages on the CDC site to find information about HIV. And in the search results, it'll take you to a number of topics that you might find of interest. So whether or not it's general information or information for a specific population, you can find all of that information here. And so I want to encourage you to scroll through the site. And as you scroll through the site, you may come across information that is really helpful to you and for the information that you want to know. So for example, there is a page on the CDC website called HIV, AIDS, and STDs. And I just clicked on that from the search bar, and it comes up with a lot of information about HIV. There's a fact sheet where you can learn just more of the general facts about HIV. There's a page for treatment. We can learn what's happening with treatment updates. There's also a portal to learn how you can reduce your own risk or help others reduce their risk for HIV. All of this is found on the CDC website. The other thing that you'll notice when you come to the CDC website is that you can actually interact with the people from the CDC on social media. So whether or not you want to connect with them on Twitter or Facebook, they're there. So add them as a friend, add them to your profile, and that way you can also stay up to date with some of the information about HIV/AIDS. Say, for example, you're interested in learning what's happening in my state with HIV. Well, you can actually go to the CDC page and look at what's happening in your state. Perhaps you're looking up information on what's happening with Black men in HIV. Well, I can actually go to the CDC website and we can find that information. One of the things that I love about the CDC website is that they update their page and they let you know when it was last reviewed. So by knowing when it was last reviewed, you can know how up to date the information is. So again, this is one of the greatest ways to stay up to date with the latest information about HIV. So as a recap for the CDC webpage, you can find information about people. You can find information by geography. You can find information on a number of different factors. So I want you to use that search bar, explore the webpage, and find the information that you need so that you can be the best advocate, the best friend, the best person who has this information. The next website I would like to talk to you about is called AIDSview. And the great thing about AIDSview is that you can explore HIV where you live or any other geography here in the United States. It's described as an interactive online mapping tool. And with this mapping tool, you will be able to visualize how the HIV epidemic has spread, what it looks like, its density. And so there's a lot of great information that you can find there. So when I look at it, it pulls up understanding HIV in Michigan. So as someone who lives in the state of Michigan, I can find out what's going on, even down to the specific city where I am right now, here in Saginaw, Michigan. So that's a great thing about the AIDSview website. The other thing that the AIDSview website offers is a space for news and updates. And so you can stay up to date with the latest data releases, see new maps, educational resources. This might be a good website to think about strategies, think about events, think about ways to pull partners together, provide information to the media, but it's a great way to stay informed about new information about HIV. You'll also know that you can go to a space on the AIDSview website called Beyond the Map. And Beyond the Map allows you to look at, other types of issues. So whether or not you want to learn about PrEP and the uptake of PrEP and who's using PrEP. Perhaps you want to know more about health disparities or viral suppression, HIV testing, or even ending the HIV epidemic. The AIDSview website offers a number of resources where you can get the information that you need, and you can boil it down to the place where you live or that place that you might be most interested in. And while we're talking about HIV, I think it's important to also think about just some other conditions. So I'm gonna take a side note and talk about HepView, which is another great website. So HepView can allow you, very similar to AIDSview, stay up to date with the latest data, news, infographics, or what's happening with viral hepatitis here in the United States. We know that there's a connection between hepatitis, the opioid epidemic, and even HIV in some parts of this country. And so this is another great resource just to understand what's happening. And again, so that you can be a better advocate, be more informed, as well as help spread the right information to the right people. So one of the things I love about HepView, similar to AIDSview, is they have timely articles. So you'll see, just the dates in which articles and new articles were published. And these articles may be of interest to you. They also list upcoming events on their main page, so things that you can get involved in and, help just stay aware of what's going on. Similar to AIDSview, they have the Beyond the Map portion of their website. And that's where you can see surveillance data. So you can see what's actually happening with viral hepatitis. You can look at local data. So I can look and see what's happening here in Saginaw, Michigan. We can take a deeper look into the opioid crisis. And they have information that will help you look in to see what's going on there. And then maybe you're just not as familiar with hepatitis and you just want to know what's going on with hepatitis. What is hepatitis? Well, they have the hepatitis ABCs. And so that's a place where you can learn more and actually see what's going on there. The fourth website that I would like to tell you about is called thebody.com. So thebody.com was started in 1995, the year I graduated from high school. And it publishes a number of great articles related to HIV, news, supports, and personal perspectives. And I think that's one of the things I love about this particular website, because you get various opinions, but they're grounded in facts. as well as their opinions. But they're grounded in science and they're well informed. One of the other things I love about the site is that you can see the people who are publishing the articles, who are contributing to what's happening on the site. And so, there may be a favorite person or a favorite author that's working in the field that you know of, and you're like, I like their writing. This is somebody that I trust. And so you can always go back to see, what are they writing about? What are they talking about? And while you're there, you may find other articles that are just as helpful. TheBody.com has various sections that, again, I think that you might find very helpful and very interesting to the work that you're trying to do. So for example, there is the Living with HIV section of the website where you can find basic information. They even have information about COVID and HIV, what happens if you're newly diagnosed with HIV, starting treatments for living with HIV. On the website, you can learn more about HIV in terms of HIV transmission and risk, symptoms of HIV, history of HIV/AIDS here in the United States, HIV and LGBT groups, HIV and the law. TheBody.com is an easy to navigate website just like the others, especially because they have sections where you can find the information that you need. And so whether or not it's the Living with HIV section that provides more information on the basics of well-being and living with HIV, or even thinking about COVID and HIV, they give you a number of tips that could be helpful if you're a person living with HIV or if you're supporting a person who might be living with HIV. Within TheBody.com, you can learn more about the actual disease. And so, again, similar to the CDC and some of the other websites, how is HIV transmitted? What are the risks? What's the history of HIV in the United States? And what about the organizing of different communities? That information is there. You can also find information about laws and HIV-related laws that are operating here in the United States. One of the things, as someone who does a lot in arts and culture, one of the things I love about this is that they have a page on HIV and arts and entertainment. And so that's another place where you might find the specific information that you might need or might be looking for. There's also a tab around prevention and testing. So again, you can find information on how to prevent HIV transmission, as well as maybe what are the testing sites and what are the hours of those testing sites. They provide information by community or by group. So whether or not you're looking at adults under the age of 30, or if you're looking for African Americans and what's happening with HIV, you can go there. You can find information about gay men. You can find things about Latinx people. You can find information about trans people, people over 50, as well as women. So what I love, again, about this website, similar to the others, is that it provides information that you might need based on the groups that you're working with or that you might be curious about. They also provide information on HIV policy and advocacy. So if you're someone who just, as part of your civic obligation, you advocate, you go to your town hall meetings, you go to Congress, this is a page that can give you up-to-date information as to what's happening, as well as how you can get involved and how you can mobilize others to stay involved. And then there's information on news. So again, what's the latest happening with HIV? And so they really put this news in a place that you can find it and that you can use it. So I think it's a good website for you to check out. So when we finish this, make sure you check it out, right? So now that we've talked about a few websites, I want to think about some of the practical tips when you're looking for information. And some of the tips that I provide are not just related to HIV, but it's almost like how to safely navigate the website and some of these sources to find the information you need. So the first thing is you want to make sure that you're on a secured website. And so we look for the HTTPS, because we know it's a secure website. If it doesn't have that on there, we may want to go to another website. We also want to avoid those websites that have a lot of advertisements. Sometimes those advertisements may be a signal that this website may not have the most credible information, or might just have a lot of information poured into it. The other thing, some of those websites are just hard to navigate and find the information that you need. Often with some of the websites, and especially the ones that I tend to go to, I look to see if there's a place where there's either a live chat feature or someone who can answer the questions and the information that I need. So I look for that live chat box and that person or the the individuals that may answer that specific question that I might have in that moment. I also think about social media. And so we talked a little bit about social media and some of the folks you can follow, but we know that we get a lot of information on social media. So if I hear something on social media, I'll go look and see, let me see what the CDC might be saying on their social media page, if I don't want to go to the actual website. Or I might say, I know this person works at this particular agency. What are some of the things that they're saying? So maybe you're following their lectures, you're following the information. So you can actually follow these individuals and get to the information that you need. Those are a few tips that I believe you can use to navigate to the information that you need and stay up to date and informed with the best information possible. There's so much happening around research and evaluation of programs and interventions. This is an excellent way to find the latest information by exploring websites, exploring trusted individuals and other trusted sources. So I encourage you, I implore you to use this information so that you have everything that you need. As a recap, we quickly went through and reviewed 4 websites: the CDC's website, AIDSview, HepView, and thebody.com. All sources I believe that will get you well on your way to finding the information that you need and to stay up to date with the latest and the newest information about HIV. How do you define a trusted partner? How do you define a trusted site? How do you find the information that you're looking for? I hope based on this information, you feel more comfortable, more confident in finding the information that you need to stay most informed about HIV and helping the people that you care about the most. Thank you very much.